What I had heard about UK wasn't true because nobody would tell the facts. Anyway, living here and having the personal experience was the best teacher. So I stayed with my sister for some time, and obviously I brought my family, with me, my wife, my other 3 children. So then I moved out, rented some accommodation. In those days it was quite difficult, but I managed somehow or other. And then I started looking for the job. I was, mad after broadcasting, should I say, obsessed about broadcasting. Obviously, I approached BBC. They knew my experience, heard about it, and they offered me occasional, parts in some of their plays and other programs. But it was only freelance, no guarantee. I could get one a month or one a week, no guarantee. That wasn't enough for me. Meanwhile, I had 3 months leave, when I came from Kenya, which was about to expire, and I think then I started worrying about my job. Some vacancies came up in British Rail. I applied for that and I got the job as a ticket office, booking office clerk, what they call them. One day I was with my friends in a pub, and as usual I was speaking English, ordering in English, and one of the chappies, English came into me and asked me, "Mr. Singh, would you act as an informer for us? I'm from police," he introduced before asking me that question. I said, "Beg your pardon?" Because I knew what an informer in the police means, because I had worked as a reserve policeman in Kenya during the emergency. I said, "Look," then he said, "No," I told him bluntly that, "Sorry, I won't." He said, "Then what, you can act as an interpreter." Oh, that I could consider. But again, the formalities were done. I went to the head office, Scotland Yard, that was what it used to be. They accepted me. And I happened to know more than one language. I knew Urdu, Punjabi, and obviously Swahili. English, as good or as bad, I knew. So anyway, but meanwhile, I continued my British Rail work. And another coincidence that, Southeast is one of the greatest commuters belt for the British Rail. And there was a radio station there. And meanwhile, since I was in contact with the BBC, I had occasional participation in programs at Bush House. So they were, in the early 70s I'm talking about, BBC was thinking about starting local radio programs for minorities. So they were looking for presenters. And there was a local radio at Chatham, Kent. We used to broadcast for the Kent area. And there was a news item about the British Rail for the commuters in one of the, British Rail papers that Radio Medway used to be, which became Radio Kent later on. They needed somebody for the Asian local program, which BBC was going to start. I said, "Look," I jumped for the occasion. I approached the appropriate authority, and they introduced me to Radio Medway then. They asked me to prepare a pilot program, which I prepared, a 15-minute pilot program. The program was supposed to come under the education producer, and who was an ex-teacher as well, Peter Glenville. So I gave the tape to Peter, and he sent it to one of his listeners or friends in Gravesend. He listened to it and gave his report to Peter. And that fellow, he used to be my Voice of Kenya fan from Nairobi. He rang me up, Master Ji, you prepared a program, please start the program as soon as possible. Well, anyway, I went back to Peter. He took me to the station manager, and they started a fortnightly program there. Fortnightly, half an hour program there. Went on. It went to 1 hour, weekly, but again it was fortnight, temporary, part-time, what they call is freelance job.